The modern divorce court operates like a state-sanctioned plundering operation. What starts as a private agreement between two people, marriage, transforms into an open invitation for bureaucrats and judges to seize your hard-earned property. They term it equitable distribution, a sophisticated way of enforcing wealth redistribution through the state's monopoly on power. This approach distorts justice and violates fundamental property rights. If two individuals can't agree on dividing their own assets, that's their private matter to resolve voluntarily, not an excuse for the state to intervene and dictate terms like a medieval lord dividing spoils. Marriage at its core is a private contract. Its terms, conditions, and dissolution should be matters solely for the individuals involved. Yet the state has inserted itself into this personal commitment, turning marriage into a regulated industry ripe for exploitation. The state mandates terms that override private agreements. Prenuptial contracts, while offering some protection, are often subject to judicial review and can be overturned by judges who believe they know better how your property should be split. Equitable distribution rarely means equal. It means whatever the judge, guided by numerous family lawyers, decides is fair. This often involves forcibly seizing assets from one party and handing them to another, regardless of who actually earned or inherited them. It's legalized theft. By refusing to simply enforce the terms agreed upon by the individuals, or the lack thereof, the state undermines the very concept of voluntary contracts, replacing it with arbitrary judicial power. Why should a judge have the authority to rewrite a deal made between consenting adults? The entire system, the courts, the lawyers, the valuation experts, forms a parasitic ecosystem that thrives on the dissolution of private relationships. It's a racket, plain and simple. For centuries, wise individuals have used trust to protect assets and ensure their proper stewardship across generations. A trust legally separates ownership, placing assets under the control of a trustee for the benefit of specified beneficiaries. This isn't a shady loophole. It's a legitimate tool for financial planning and property protection. Assets placed in a properly structured irrevocable trust are generally no longer considered the personal property of the grantor. This can shield them from creditors, lawsuits, and yes, grasping spouses in a state-orchestrated divorce. Trusts allow individuals to dictate how assets are managed and distributed long after they're gone, bypassing the often costly and public probate process and ensuring assets go where intended, not where a judge decrees. While not entirely secret, the inner workings and specific holdings of a private trust are not typically public records, offering a layer of confidentiality that direct personal ownership lacks. If an outsider looks at a trust, the assets belong to the trust, managed by the trustee. This creates a significant legal hurdle for state courts seeking to seize those assets during a divorce, especially if the trust was established long before any marital discord and for legitimate estate planning purposes. Now consider adding modern tools of financial sovereignty to this traditional structure. Cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, and particularly Monero, offer unprecedented levels of personal control and privacy, making them powerful instruments for safeguarding wealth from coercive third parties, including the state. Bitcoin, as a decentralized, borderless digital asset, exists outside the traditional banking system. Holding your own private keys means you control the funds, not a bank that must comply with court orders. While transactions are recorded on a public ledger, ownership can be obscured through various techniques, providing censorship resistance and making seizure difficult if secured properly. Monero, designed from the ground up for privacy, uses sophisticated cryptography to obfuscate sender, receiver, and transaction amounts. It's virtually impossible for an outside observer to trace Monero transactions or determine wallet balances on the blockchain. This makes it exceptionally difficult for the state apparatus to discover the existence of these assets, let alone seize them. Both Bitcoin and Monero empower individuals with true ownership through self-custody of private keys. Relying on third-party exchanges or custodians reintroduces risks and vulnerabilities to state orders, like freezing accounts or reporting holdings. True sovereignty requires holding your own keys. Imagine placing Bitcoin or Monero within an irrevocable trust. The implications for asset protection against state-mandated divorce settlements are profound. The trust provides legal separation of ownership, while the cryptocurrency itself, especially Monero, offers technical obscurity. A court would first need to penetrate the trust structure and then discover and access the privately held crypto keys. Cryptocurrencies are global assets. A trust established in one jurisdiction, holding crypto keys secured elsewhere, presents immense challenges for a local divorce court seeking to assert control. The assets exist on a global distributed ledger, accessible only with the keys. Unlike a bank account that can be frozen with a court order, or real estate that can have a lien placed upon it, properly secured cryptocurrency, keys held privately, perhaps geographically dispersed or memorized, is incredibly difficult for bailiffs or state agents to physically seize. This isn't about illegal evasion. It's about strategically using legitimate legal structures like trusts and innovative technologies like cryptocurrencies to defend your property against state overreach and expropriation. It's asserting your natural right to control what is yours. Why should anyone be forced to surrender their property simply because a personal relationship, governed initially by private agreement, has ended? The state has no legitimate claim to be involved. Here's the bottom line. The state's intervention in divorce is an illegitimate infringement upon private property rights and the sanctity of contracts. Individuals have every right to protect their assets from this coercive apparatus. Combining the established legal protection of trusts with the technological sovereignty offered by cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Monero provides a robust strategy. It allows individuals to reclaim control over their financial destiny, shielding their hard-earned wealth from the plundering hands of the state operating under the guise of family law. It's time to use the tools of freedom to defend against the agents of coercion. Get in touch with Liberty Mundo if you're ready to set up a trust or foundation to make your assets untouchable, no matter the predator. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.